everybody. Man, today is one of those days, Josh, where I was like laying in bed at 7 o'clock this morning, and I was like, well, might as well just get up and get this day started. And I've been rocking and rolling ever since.
Yeah.
Just before showtime, I have had like three people reach out to me. Hey, Judah, we got to talk about a deal. When can we talk? I'm like, well, let's do 11:45 or 12:45. So actually, like, I got to get right off the show today because I've got a
Okay.
12:45, a 1:30, a 2 o'clock. If you're not talking about real estate or doing real estate deals today in this market, I don't know what your story is. This is the
Oh,
Build and Grow with Real Estate show. My name is Judah Hoover. This over here is my co-host, the one and only Josh Weidman. I'm an
well,
executive with Slate House Group Property Management. And I got to tell you, it is an awesome time to buy and sell regular properties, investment properties, primary residences. I want to work on your primary residence with you because most people understand that their primary residence is their largest investment, for good or bad, that they're ever going to have. So you might as well, if your primary residence is your largest investment, you might as well talk to somebody who really knows investment property as well and understands real estate as an investment for how to do that. So let's rock and roll and talk about real estate together.
that's awesome. My name's Josh Weidman. Thanks for introducing me. What am I trying to say? Yeah, I'm a hard money lender right here in central Pennsylvania. Our office is right outside of Hershey. We hard money bankers. We've been lending since 2007. In that time, we've done over 3,000 loans. And I mean, like, we are a direct lender, which means if you are looking to fund your next project, you can reach out to me. And the same day you call me, I'm going to underwrite the loan, give you an approval, and we can close the next day. So long as the title's clear and everything's ready to go, we can move really, really quickly.
15 years as a lender, talking to another lender, my friend. I got to tell you, that is just crazy turnaround time. And it is something that you should be absolutely impressed and proud of.
Well, I mean, the market right now is crazy. The last month has been the best month that I've seen. I mean, we've got leads coming in all over the place. And I'll tell you what's been really interesting, Judah, is the number of people that have called me that have said, hey, listen, I've been working with another lender and we were ready to close. And 2 days before closing, they said, sorry, we don't actually have the money.
Right.
I mean, it's not surprising when
or they come up with some other excuse that you as a lender can tell. The real issue here is we've overcommitted ourselves and we don't have the money to close.
Well, and what I'm seeing here, so full disclosure, so we are privately backed, which means that we've got the capital ready to invest. Like right now, we could fund your loan. A lot of hard money lenders in the past have been backed by either institutional funding or bank funding that's no longer available.
Right.
And so when things started loosening up in Pennsylvania, what we saw is a lot of these lenders that said, hey, look, we're not lending right now.
Right.
They came back into the market and said, hey, we're lending. We can close. Send us your deals. And what they were hoping to do was find a funding source by the time they had a deal ready to close. Now, that's not it across the board. It's not like everybody's out of business. There are other lenders out there. But what I encourage people to do is, like, if you're looking for funding on your next project, give me a call. If I can help you, I'll tell you I can. And if we're not the right lender for you, I'm going to tell you that too. I mean, there are plenty of other, options. Sometimes people call hard money lender because we're easy, when the best choice is get a broker that can find you a good long-term loan, because that's what you really need. And anyway, so we're getting back to subject to today. This is pretty fun. Like the subject to stuff, we had a lot of people putting a lot of eyeballs on our show last week. And I mean, this is really great content. And so let's start by kind of rehashing what we talked about before. I got to bring up the screen share. Give me 1 second here. And boom. All right. So we were talking about, process and timelines for a subject to investment, right? And just to kind of dig a little bit deeper in some of the basic information that we were looking at. And we started by looking at this as a third exit strategy, right? You've got buy and hold, you've got flips, which includes fix and flips and wholesale deals. This is a third way to take advantage of your marketing dollars that you're already spending and tease some more money out of them. subject to timeline, and this is really where we're digging in. We went over the first phone call last time. We went
And the
over
first meeting.
right.
Yep.
Today we're going to dig into the homework and the closing.
Correct. So here's what here's on that first phone call. You're just going to kind of talk to them, and you're going to determine that it is a potential for a subject to, that there's not enough equity in it for it to be a wholesale deal, and that it's not something that you're going to want to rehab, or they'll maybe, but basically you determine that it's a subject to in that first phone call. At the first meeting is when you're going to do four things. You're going to, next slide, my friend.
Yeah, sorry.
The point of the first meeting is four steps. You're going to want to build rapport, review documents, explain the process, and also check out the property and make sure that if it needs work, that it needs work, or it doesn't need work, or what amount of work that it needs. And here's the deal: I find that lease option buyers are not nearly as picky and fussy as retail buyers. And so when you're dealing with when you're looking at the condition of the property, if it only needs paint and rehab, don't worry about it. If there's other stuff that needs done, don't worry about it. Even if it needs a lot of work, I'll still move forward with those properties and just tell somebody that there's no option money that's required to move into this property. That, the option money is your sweat equity, and that's worked pretty well as well. So you're just reviewing the documents. And again, when you're reviewing the documents, the big thing that you're looking for there is two things. Are the people who own this property sitting in front of me? I'm not talking to just a wife and the estranged husband isn't there, or vice versa. There's not, for some reason, the dad is involved in this transaction and not present. The other thing that you're looking for is it a 30-year fixed mortgage? 95% of the subject twos that I've done have been 30-year fixed mortgages. Even if it's an adjustable rate, those transactions can still work out, but you want to know that going into it so you know what you're getting your hands on. Next slide. And this is where we get into new content for today.
That's right. That's right. So you've walked out of the house with the contract. You've taken some pictures of their most recent statements. You've gotten all of the documents that you seemingly need. Now, what are we doing here? What's the next?
And great question, by the way. On that contract, you just use any normal purchase and sale agreement, and we can get into that later. And you also signed a lease with the option to purchase with them. You sign any normal purchase agreement dated out 3 years. You just use a normal purchase agreement, dated 3 years out, and on the purchase price, you say mortgage balance at time of settlement. Mortgage balance at time of settlement. Now, later you're going to amend that contract to specifically what that is. Otherwise, the title company will have a fit. But it is perfectly fine to say mortgage balance at time of settlement on that purchase agreement. You now control the property, and you don't need to do anything fancier than just a normal PA purchase and sale agreement dated 3 years out.
Okay, so Judah, this is a point of contention from my end, and not even contention, but clarification, right? I always thought that a subject to purchase, you were actually taking ownership of the property at the time that you are settling on the thing, so that like you're getting the title search, you're closing on the house, and they're just selling it to you for their existing mortgage balance, and the mortgage stays in place. Is that the case?
Yes. So they're going to deed that. They're going to. Yeah. I don't know why I said 3 years out. You just have them deeded over to you for the existing balance, but you still need to have a contract for it, and they deed it over to you for $1. I have the actual deed be deeded over to me for $1. But still, even though they're deeding it over to you, you still want to have a purchase and sale agreement at the time that you buy the seller's property.
Got it.
Later on in the week, we're going to be talking about lease option, which is what you do to dispose of these properties. And at that point, you also use another purchase and sale agreement, and you just date it out 3 years. So as soon as I leave the property, I still have a purchase and sale agreement signed with them at that time, if I can.
Yep.
I also, but not always, only about 50% of the time. Sometimes they want to, whatever, and that's fine. Uh, but I'm going to order title. I also have a copy of their deed, and I'm going to hand the copy of the deed to the title person, and I'm going to say, do deed prep from, the sellers to me. Now, here's the deal with just so you know, when it comes to ordering title work. Title insurance is where they make their profit, and you're not going to be buying title insurance. So you might need to pay, instead of $100, you might need to pay $250 for the deed prep. Instead of $100 for the title search, you might need to pay $250 for the title search. And instead of no closing fee, they might want to charge you $250 to $500 for this, because really, title insurances do a lot of work for free. Title insurance companies do a lot of work for free in order to sell you title insurance.
Right.
Because title insurance is about 75 to 80% profit for them. So when you are not buying title insurance and you're just having a title company facilitate the transaction for you, be ready for the fees to be higher. That's just one thing you need to be prepared with. So you've got some homework. So you're going to do a title search. You're also going to ask the title company to, hey, check out these sellers. Can they provide me with clean title?
Right.
Because if they've got back to child support or back to IRS or back to whatever, you're not just checking out the individuals. You're not just checking out the property. You're also checking out the individuals, because if they have anything wrong with them that would cloud their title at the time of the transaction, that will follow with the property. You also want to complete your. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say you can buy title insurance with these things. That's an option, and it's going to cost you a couple $1,000s. It is, depending on the dollar amount and things like that. It's it used to be 1.3% of the sales price, but I mean you can buy more title insurance than the
You're gonna
sales.
have a hard time finding an underwriter that will actually sell it to you, though.
Well, if you have an exemption though in
Yes.
the policy
Yeah.
for the mortgage, they'll do it, but it's a very clear exemption, and yeah, you will get pushback from the title company on that. But I mean,
I've never, ever, ever bought title insurance for a subject to, but also I would never, ever, 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 ever do another type of real estate deal without buying title insurance.
yeah, and beyond that, you want to make sure that you have a search. Like
Yes.
searches typically cost the title company like $250. So you're
Yeah.
gonna have to pay for the search. You're
Right.
also gonna have to pay the other fees, like Judah was saying. But like, it's really important that you understand that, like, if you take ownership of that property, and let's say that there's unpaid taxes, let's say they're not escrowed, they're your taxes now.
Yeah.
The tax man's going to come and collect on you. It's going to go to your bottom line and go against your credit if there's an issue. If there's a $20,000 judgment against the seller, also going to go against your property now.
Right.
So you got to make sure that you're getting a clear title during the transfer. And again, that's why it's important to choose the right type of properties in the right type of neighborhoods.
Yeah, I love pretty properties in pretty neighborhoods where I'm more than likely going to be dealing with no headache and no hassle and no fuss, no muss. The next thing you want to do is complete your market analysis. You probably got this call on a Monday and we're out there on a Tuesday, hopefully, or maybe even Monday night. So complete market analysis is you are finalizing, talking to some local realtors and some local other investors to see exactly what is my resale value, exactly what is my rental market going to be. I think I can rent this for $1,000, but can I do it? So you just want to spend some time getting more comfortable with that. Again, hopefully you began that on Monday and Tuesday already, but on like Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to be kind of finalizing that. Hopefully, meeting with these sellers again on Thursday or Friday of the same week. Basically, however long it takes the title company to get back with you on this stuff. You also want to get familiar with the existing loans. Is it a 30-year fixed mortgage? Is it fully escrowed taxes and insurance? Now that I don't have somebody looking over my shoulder, and I've never looked at a mortgage statement from Chase before. My mortgage is with Wells Fargo. I know how to look at them. This one's from Chase, so it's formatted slightly differently. What does this look like? Am I sure about what I'm looking at? Am I comfortable with what I'm looking at? I look through the mortgage and the note and the riders to the mortgage and note. Is it really a 30-year fixed mortgage, or if it's an adjustable, when is it going to adjust, and what is the index by which it's going to adjust? And just getting familiar with all those things. The other thing you want to do is you're going to prepare a couple documents. Okay, now this is what's important, and this is what makes everything go so much smoother down the road. If I'm buying Josh's property from him on a subject to, I have Josh sign a limited power of attorney limited to 123 Main Street.
Yep.
So Josh is going to say, well, I'm not giving you power of attorney. Josh, listen, everybody thinks power of attorney means this great big thing. You're giving me limited power of attorney for 123 Main Street. It means I have the power to act as you. I'm your agent for things associated with 123 Main Street. If I try to take your car and pick it up at the Mercedes dealership and I'm like, hey, I'm Josh's, limited power of attorney, they're going to say, this is a limited power of attorney. It has nothing to do with 123 Main Street. This is about his black Mercedes Benz that we just finished, doing the spring tune up for. I'm not giving you the keys. So Josh, I can't operate on your behalf for anything other than 123 Main Street. And it just streamlines things so that I don't have to bug you if something comes up 6-8 months from now. The other thing,
it will.
Yeah, and something will come up. But here's the deal. I've done dozens and dozens and dozens of subject to deals. Probably less than 100, but I've done dozens and dozens of them. I've lost track of them. I've very rarely, 3 to 5% of the time, do I have to use the limited power of attorney, because my letter to the insurance company and my letter to the mortgage company, which isn't on our list here, the letter to the mortgage company is so good. The letter to the mortgage company says, Dear Josh's mortgage company, please coordinate with Real Estate Hackers LLC for all future mortgage payments. They will be handling my mortgage payments for me going forward. So what I do is I write this letter as if it's Josh, and really I don't even write it anymore because I just have it in, I have it in boilerplate. So I make the letter from Josh to his mortgage company. Yep. At the bottom I have his name, his loan number, his social security number, and his signature, and the date. And it basically says, please, this is my written authorization to talk to whatever Judah Hoover's LLC is, let's just say Real Estate Hackers, for all future mortgage payments. What do they think I am, Josh?
They think you're a property manager.
They think I'm a property manager. Exactly. They don't know I bought the property. Now, Josh, did I tell them I'm a property manager? No.
Nope.
Did you tell them I'm a property manager?
No.
No. We allowed them to believe I am a property manager.
Right.
So we say, also send all future payment coupons and payment books to blah, 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 whatever my address is.
Right.
Josh, you can still, and I go over this at the initial phone call if it comes up. I go over this at the initial meeting if it comes up, and I go over this at the settlement if it comes up. Josh, you can log on every month if you want to. I'm going to have we're going to still leave it as your email address and your password. I can't get into any of your other stuff, but I can get into and verify that we're making this mortgage payment on time every month.
That's right.
So we don't change any of that, but we change where the payment coupon is sent every month. I also have an escrow letter, which says, hey, by the way, if and when we pay this off, please deduct the escrow balance from the payoff. Doesn't mean that they'll do that, but hopefully they will. The other thing that we do is we send a letter to the insurance company, again, in Josh's name. I am turning this property into a rental property. Please deal with Judah Hoover's LLC for all future issues, blah, blah, blah. This is my authorization to add Judah Hoover as an authorized representative on this account. This is my written permission to change the mailing address to blah, 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 whatever Judah Hoover says. Please cancel this policy and start a landlord policy with a deductible of $1,000.
There you go.
So I've covered all my bases. I now have written permission and authority to talk to your mortgage company. I now have written permission to talk to your insurance company. If your insurance company gives you a hard time, Josh, I tell you, Josh, hey, by the way, if your insurance company doesn't play ball, I'm just going to cancel that insurance company and we're going to use my insurance company. My insurance company, Red Rabbit Insures, it loves it when I do this because they're looking to get as many insurance quotes as possible.
That's right. Real
so does
simple.
that make sense? So we cover all the bases.
Well, and you think about what the escrows are. Escrows with a typical mortgage company, you're going to escrow your taxes, you're going to escrow your insurance, and I mean that's the escrow, right? And then you've got, so you need to be able to control that part. You also need to be able to communicate with the mortgage company because there may come a time when, oh my goodness, you realize that the escrow just got increased 15%. And you're like, whoa, what happened here? You know, I just lost $100 off my, my premium increased $100 a month. And then you can dig into it. You can contact the insurance company, you can contact the mortgage company, figure out what's going on. And you don't want to have to call that seller who now lives in Timbuktu,
right?
That you haven't been in communication with. You have everything sitting there.
Right.
That's simple.
You do tell the seller, by the way, that you need to talk to them, and you also have the seller sign. This is going to be one of the things that we prepare at settlement is we tell the seller, by the way, one thing that the mortgage company sometimes does, Mr. Seller, is they will not take that escrow amount off the payoff, and they're going to want to give it to you in the form of a check after we settle. Okay, will you please sign this letter? Now, I don't send this letter to the title company, but I have the seller sign a letter saying that I own that escrow money. Because I say to him, I'm like, Josh, listen, 3 years from now when I pay this off, or 2 years from now when I pay this off, it's going to be me and the tenant who paid that money into that escrow account.
Right.
That's my money.
Right.
Mortgage company is going to issue you a check for $2,000. Please sign this letter that it is your intention that you're going to sell that, you're going to sign that check over to me, or that you're going to cash that check and write me a check back. Guess what happens? Sometimes the sellers actually do that and they honor their word at the end. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes I split it with them. Sometimes I don't. But I try up front to communicate that it's my money and I want that money when we settle. And most times I get it. Sometimes I don't. Who freaking cares? I'm getting a check for $15 or $20 or $10,000. I don't care about this check for $1,100 to $2,000 if I can't actually get it.
Perfect.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes plenty of sense. And look, it's covering your bases, you know. Right. And look, you're explaining everything. They understand what's going on, and you just follow up. Just make sure you keep in contact with them and make sure everything's on the up and up. So now we've done our homework. It's time to close. Time to get paid.
Right. So the title company is going to, when I order title on Tuesday, the title company is going to say, hey, we'll probably have this ready for you on Thursday or Friday. Great. On Wednesday or Thursday, they're going to say, hey, Judah, can we close on Friday or Monday? Get some times that work from your seller. I'm going to call my seller and I'm going to say, hey, Josh, what works better for you, Friday or Monday for settlement?
Sure.
Let's set this up. Let's make this happen. Josh, we can also come to you. Most title companies charge a $300 remote settlement fee for out of office or after business hours settlements. So you want to work with the title company that does that. I always love going to sellers and saying we can do this right at your dining room table. You don't have to go downtown to the title company with the big mahogany tables or anything like that. That's kind of scary and intimidating. We'll just come right here and wrap this up right at your dining room table. Does that sound good? So you figure out where that's going to be. you get all the paperwork signed, and you go from there. Things that are very important is that you establish at that time how many more mortgage payments the seller is going to make. You establish that you make sure that you have contact with the seller, and you say, Mr. Seller, I'm rebuilding your credit. I'm helping you rebuild your credit. I'm doing something for you. You're helping me out too. I'm getting into a real estate deal at some pretty good terms, but I need you to make sure that if this cell phone number ever changes, you tell me.
That's
I
right.
need you to make sure that if you ever move from, I know you're moving in with your mom's house for 6 or 8 months, and then you're figuring out what you're doing from there. I need you to tell me where you moved. I'm not going to follow up with you in 6 months. I'm not going to check in with you in 3 months. I'm going to call you 18 months from now or 2 years from now when something goes on, and I need to absolutely positively be able to get in touch with you.
It's that simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can even set up an auto notification. Like, I don't know about you, but like you can set up email triggers for once a month. You send them an email, and it's like, "Hey, Judah, I just want to let you know I just paid your mortgage payment this month.
Right.
Everything's good to go. How you doing? Let me know if anything changes with your contact information." You can do that, and you can automate that, and you never have to touch it again. But it keeps in constant contact with them, so they don't just ghost you. So anyway,
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing. I like that idea. I'd rather almost them forget about me and me forget about them. I don't want to remind them every month that I exist and that they should be worried about this mortgage that's still hanging out there. I hope that they forget about me, and I hope that when it comes time to settle, I don't need to actually reach out and touch base with them.
yeah, yeah. All right. So you're signing all the paperwork. You got to make sure you get the keys.
Right.
Like, if they say they're moving out on Thursday, make sure they're out on Thursday. If not,
Or
again,
from next Thursday or whenever it's going to be, they're going to be out of the property. You just want to confirm that. So, all right. So here's what we're going to do the rest of the week. So the rest of the week, we are going to be diving into how to fill these properties. We are going to, but I know that as this negotiation happens, people are going to have 1,000 questions.
That's right.
And so I want to answer any questions that people have. We kind of touched on subject on due on sale. I'm sure that a lot of people have a lot of other questions. So email me what your questions are about subject to, or comment here in the comments about what your questions are for subject to. And we definitely want to answer those and talk about those. And the rest of the week, what we're going to do is, now that we own this property, because it's deeded over to us, we own it. The rest of the week, we're going to be talking about on Wednesday on Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to be talking about not subject to, rent to own, and selling properties rent to own. And then
which is the other half of the equation here.
Which is the other half of the equation. So I bought it with with subject to. I sell it with lease purchase or rent to own, whatever you want to call it. By the way, I've also sold these things by listing them on the MLS and sold them very quickly too. You can do anything you want with the property once you own it. It's just that it's very convenient, and the two go together like glove in hand, lease purchase and subject to. So, and then on Thursday, we're going to have a guest on who is an expert on this topic, and just somebody else who I know that's done dozens and dozens of these transactions, just to talk about it a little bit.
Awesome. All right. So we'll be back here at noon tomorrow. Join us if you liked if you enjoyed today's video. Make sure that you like and share. We'll be back here tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
See everybody.